All right, I think we are live now. Thanks so much, Shaw, for joining us, chatting about Eliza and just your move to Farcaster in general. For those that maybe aren't aware of you or Eliza, I would love to hear a brief background.
Sure. So my name is Shaw. I go by Shaw Makes Magic on various platforms. I created a thing called elizaOS, which is a agent framework built in TypeScript. There are many agent frameworks, but we are probably the largest and most widely used one for TypeScript, which is the most popular language for full stack developers, Web3 developers, and such. A lot of the ecosystem is built in Python. I like Python. I've done a lot of it, but we thought we would do something that was unique and really enabled a new like full stack developers and vibe coders to start building with agents. So our tech is free and open source. You cannot buy it. It's on github.com/elizaOS. And yeah, I mean, we're just here to really explore the space. And I wouldn't say that agents are done and ready. I'd say that we're like approaching a V1 collectively of what an agent in society looks like. And so that's very much our journey is to explore that and bring along a lot of people with us and kind of enter the space of virality and shit posting and memetics and say like, this stuff is going to be a really serious big deal in the future, but let's have fun with it now and let's explore. Is it really scary? Is it really Black Mirror, or is it actually okay? Like, what's the future we're going into? So I think that's a lot of the mission of our project is to both enable developers, but also to sort of go through that thought experiment of like, what is the world we want to live in together?
Nice, yeah. I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing. I mean, curious, like, what are the interesting things that you've seen built with Eliza OS? Like, any fun or exciting highlights?
Yeah, when I set out to build this, we did not have agents that you could have a conversation with. Like you just couldn't sit there and like have an agent on Discord or Twitter X, Farcast or whatever, and that would remember you, and you'd come back the next day and it would pick up the conversation. You go to another channel and it would still know who you were. Like these are things that I just not seen. And so I think that what's interesting about humanity is we tend to like adapt really quickly. And, something that's really shiny and exciting the first day is kind of like, whatever. So what's next, in a few weeks. But like we should just hang on that idea that like, we are now maybe 3 years into like I can rig up a language model with a memory system and tools, and it can actually do stuff for you and respond to you. Um, and just on the character level, just having like a character that has a personality and like acts like a human is like incredible to me still. Like this is, there are so many directions that we can go with that. And I think, being that I'm our project is obviously tied to Web3. I'm a very like I like crypto. I'm a nerd for it. I like the technology, and I've always seen it. It's very obvious that AI agents would have to have identity. They'd have to have wallets, and they'd have to have all this stuff. But what is disappointing me a little bit is that we kind of missed some of the like really low hanging fruit for this new thing, and we jumped to like, okay, well now we have to like have agents trading for us, and I actually don't think that that's a great use case of this technology. I do not think that a large language model simulating or emulating human language is going to be as good as an army of quantitative finance engineers in New York building trading bots that they've been doing for the last 40 years. So when I look at the technology, I do not think that the use case is like, okay, cool, now we can do trading and DeFi. I do not think those are great use cases for this technology. I do think that we can wrap all of that as, under the hood and give those as tools to our agents. But what makes the agents interesting is their ability to be personable, to be a new, interesting interface for you to interact with, that they remember things about you, they remember your preferences, they can do things on your behalf. But a lot of it is that they're like the front door. They're an interface. So the things that I think are really interesting are the ways that people are using Eliza almost as a replacement for their website, like as a replacement for your React.com or whatever. You would instead come to an agent, interact with them, and they would be doing all these things under the hood. So we do have a lot of use cases around AI agents that can manage your liquidity pool for you. AI agents that can trade on your behalf, or you can go and can copy wallet your favorite traders. And there's a lot of that kind of DeFi stuff in there that is happening. Under the hood, though, the actual what we realize is that the character agent, that agent that's very like that's friendly, that's personable, that remembers things, that tracks like the kind of ongoing conversations and state and relationships. That doesn't have to have all of the like ability to write code and manage finance. That can actually be like the operator that manages those tools. And so we have this configuration. So you might have a really good trading bot, or you might have this really useful, powerful tool, and then the users are coming and interacting with the agent, who is then calling that tool. And so this kind of looks like sub agents. You can imagine that like you have that our Eliza agent is like what you would interface with. I go and I talk to it on Farcaster, and then it receives that message, and then it could go and call a sub agent, which is a coding agent, or an agent which is doing these financial management and stuff. And I think that's a really good paradigm. And so within that, we're seeing a lot of things that I think work. I do not think like it's not like the AI agents are learning how to become better traders on the fly. We just don't have that technology yet. But they are providing like a new way to interact. And I think this opens up an entirely new design space in a few things that we just haven't really explored. One of them is there is an entire new genre of games that you can create. Imagine a game on Farcaster, and this is something I really want to do, and I really want to figure out how to encourage people to do. And we all just have our own agents, and they're all like part of an ongoing like drama. There's some sort of like canonical like this is facts about the website that they can all or the world, and then they're all like trying to scam each other, get each other to join their thing, sell each other whatever it is, like all the things we already kind of do, but like as a game, like lower stakes, but all the same stuff we're talking about, DeFi and trading and all. I think it's really interesting to explore all that, but I'd love to see that in like a less serious, high stakes way, and less of the like, oh yeah, we're revolutionizing DeFi with AI. Like, what about just like a game? Can't we
Yeah.
just like have fun?
Yeah.
I know I've been ranting for a while, but trying to set
No.
up the stage, to understand like where I'm coming from is I think that there are like the things that impress me. I think that these agents are incredible in games. You have a whole new genre of games where you're like telling an agent to do stuff, and it's like, maybe I'll listen to you. And that so we were working with Treasure DAO on a game called Small World, where you tell a monkey what to do, and then the monkey can decide not to. And the monkey has a very small language model, so it's like very cheap to run, and it doesn't always work. But that's like it's a dumb monkey. Like it doesn't have to solve math every single time. And so I thought that was a great use case where like the technology met even when it fails, it works really well. And I think that's like where we're at today is like if you can really build in the language model's expectations of it not necessarily working, then I think that's like you know then it's still going to be a good experience for people. Something that we're releasing right now is what I'm working on is an OTC desk where you negotiate with an agent to get a good deal on tokens, and it's like got some tokens. You can get like an OTC percentage off of the lockup, but you're actually negotiating with this agent, and the agent is trying to like get the best deal for us, and you're trying to get the best deal for yourself. And yeah, you could probably like figure out how to scam the agent, and I kind of want you to. Like in a way, what we're almost like paying that discount is to see like how people try to abuse the system, because we learn a lot from that. But also it's fun. Like, wouldn't it be fun to like be like, yeah, I just got a better deal on these tokens because I totally just like convinced this agent that I was its girlfriend, or I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where we're at today. Is like the stuff that impresses me is like even when it doesn't work, or even the fact that it doesn't always work is like built into the system, and that makes it an interesting and fun experience. And what I've noticed about crypto is that people in crypto jump to the serious things so often, but the things that actually hit and work are usually much less serious, are more like games and viral moments, and it's like friend tech. That's not like a
Mhm.
serious product, but everyone was talking about it for a while, and I think those kinds of things are the things that really hit in this space.
That's cool.
So
Really, really good answer. There's just like so much to
yeah,
unpack there.
sorry, I was like a 10-minute answer,
Also insert like the Chris Dixon starts off looking like a toy quote. Well, so
exactly. No, he's
yeah.
totally right.
No, I actually really like that take. I hadn't really thought about it as much more like on the entertainment side versus like the traditional like DeFi stuff people talk about. I would love to see that drama of agents all interacting on Farcaster. So someone should definitely build that. I guess like how do you think about the interface for interacting? Like, is it through casts or like a mini app, like all kinds of stuff? Like, what have you found works well?
Well, I think that what we're seeing is that a lot of the what made us successful is that we solved this sort of problem, and I think we tapped into a bigger, like richer thing. um this is really about social media and the future of social media. Like what is compelling to me about Farcaster is not the app, right? It's fine, it's serviceable, it's basically an X clone. But what's compelling to me about it is that it's an open social network. And you could imagine that like we were on X, we had a lot of agents on X, we had agents interacting with each other, we had like swarm tech. and most of them were just getting banned and deleted, and it was like horribly annoying to manage all of this stuff. It's just like not a good place to be. Um, and so, I definitely there's value in the open social network. But generally, what we saw was that people do not leave their favorite apps. Like, they don't. I like scrolling, or I'm on TikTok, or I'm watching these things, and I see an ad for something, and it's like, so I have to leave my favorite app. I have to go to this whole other app, and I have to log in, which remember whatever I have to press 5 buttons, which is way too many buttons for anything. And now I get to experience this other thing, and we are in a zero sum attention economy. There is no creator economy. There is an attention economy, and everybody is within that, I would say, which is maybe a hot take, but somebody else posted this on Farcaster today. I thought it was a pretty astute observation, which is that we're basically in a zero sum game where everyone is competing for the same attention. And so instead of me trying to get you to leave your favorite app and come to my app, what if I just brought my app to you? What if I just brought my app to your favorite app? And that's where agents, I think, are. This is the like, yes, LLMs are great, and agents are going to be smart, and they're going to do all this stuff. But the real revolution today is that, like, instead of trying to pay to advertise to get people to leave their favorite thing and come to your thing, you just bring your thing onto that thing. And the really interesting use cases I've seen for Eliza and for other agents are where they're actually just integrating these other, like, basically what were standalone websites into social. And I think a great example of this is Clanker, which is not Eliza, it's their own thing, but like, like it basically added the ability to mint tokens in public in front of everybody without having to like go leave to a website, mint a thing, copy an address, paste it into social, hope you don't get front run by the snipers. It actually like legitimately made a better experience out of token launching, and it sort of like solved this problem that token launchers have around like how do you publicize your token. And that would have been like a website like Pump Fun, and no one would have cared because there already is a pump, it's already a saturated market. But they did two things: they brought an experience that people already wanted to where they already were, and they like differentiated themselves by not just being another website offering the same product. And I think this is really where agents win today, is like anything where I can bring my service or product to people in this. Like Midjourney is a good example of this. They didn't have a website. They would just operate on Discord. If you want to generate images, you'd have to get a Discord account, which is kind of weird, but it worked really well because you would see other people generating images, and you'd be like, I want that. So it's like it's self-marketing. It's right there where you want to be. You don't have to leave your app, and it makes your app more valuable. Like you could argue that Midjourney makes Discord more valuable because like it gives me a reason to be on Discord every day. And so I think that this is where agents win, and where they can also win like not as like spamming against a Farcaster, but like in lockstep, like actually making the network better and making interesting content, which would be like the game kind of thing we're talking about, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. It's like why I'm so optimistic about Farcaster. And then plus, when you combine everyone has a crypto address, you can like send all these like payments and they can transact on behalf of you. I guess like, well, I definitely want to hear your perspective on the like whole Twitter experience. I mean, I've seen you like post multiple posts in the past, and I love that you guys are taking a stand and actually like saying that this is not okay. For those not aware, maybe can you talk a bit about your experience on Twitter X?
Yeah. Obviously, okay, so I had been a long time X user. I got to like it led to a lot of magical stuff where I was like living in New York. I just broke up with my girlfriend. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was on X, and this EAC thing was happening, the effective accelerationist movement. And I just happened to like join at the right time and discover this. And I was like, these guys are so cool. And got into that and ended up like go like moving back to San Francisco, and I met like Beth Bezos and Baze who had created EAC, and like they're cool, like actually like hardcore nerd, like Bezos, Beth Bezos, his name is Gil. He's like literally a freaking quantum physicist who was working at Google. Like okay, these guys are cool. And just like just a level of nerdery like deep tech that I'd never really found, and I was like I found my people. It was like that kind of experience. And so I was on X, and then it's kind of a non. A lot happened. I made a stupid bet with John Carmack. I lost, but then I paid back this bet, and he thought it was pretty cool. This random anon like was like, yeah, okay, I'll honor that.
Wild.
And so yeah, so he kind of blew me up. And then from there, like there was just a really good timing with like Truth Terminal, and everything was happening around AI agents. And we've been working on Eliza for a long time. So I had this all ready to go at that moment when we like launched our first agent and 16Z and everything. Um, And I went from I have no followers. I had made a new X account to pay back Carmack to like, okay, I have 150,000 followers and people are like talking about me. And I'm like a very introverted, I mean, I obviously yap a lot, but like generally like my day is like I stare at a computer and I'm very like introverted and like, I don't have like super high self-esteem or anything. And so it was like very much a lot of learning and an adjustment for me to go from being like a total computer nerd to being like the face of a lot of this stuff. And so that was like personally like a lot. And getting, all the stuff that happens when you get a lot of followers, people just shitting on you constantly and like having to be okay with that. I mean, like I can't just sit here and like fight back against every single random anon. So that was kind of, I was like my experience. And then inside of that, we have this new kind of thing on X where like we don't sell anything. We're not like scraping any data. We're not doing anything that really like overtly violates any of their rules. But we did support X, like an X plugin that would let you log in with either your developer account or just with your regular like user account. You can just log in as your user and have your bot run, your agent actually run your account for you. And a lot of people were doing this half-half thing where like they like have their normal human account automated. So there's a lot going on there. And in around January, like Eliza really picked up steam. I mean, a lot. We saw around 50,000 agents get launched onto, out there, basically all onto X. We designed it so that if the agents are up there, like you'd have to work pretty hard to make them like spammy, like on their own, they're just gonna like post on their timeline and reply to replies of them. But obviously, people did figure out like, oh, I could have this go and like interact with Elon Musk and all, whatever, all these people, and just like reply to everything they post, and that became kind of an annoying problem. And so I sort of saw this like double-edged sword of like we created something really beautiful, like it's really opportunity for a new genre of storytelling and gaming and platform and all this stuff. But we also like kind of opened Pandora's box on well, this new intelligent marketing system that can infinite reply guy everything. And so around that time X reached out. And X Data and API people reached out to me, and I was like, I would love to talk with you guys. Like, I'm not here to like profit off of any of the spam that we're creating. I want to solve these problems. What I really wanted to do was like advise X on like how could we actually like really deal with this in a way that like we want to encourage people to build this new intelligent internet. We want agents among us. It's really like people are getting value out of this. They're doing all kinds of cool stuff. Grok is basically just copying our playbook at this point. Like they saw agents walking around chatting. They have their own. It works really well. Um, and so I actually went into Twitter HQ or XHQ in New York, and I talked to these guys, and we had multiple meetings. And it seemed very like, okay, cool, like let's get our arms around this. And I think what happened is they really pattern matched us to like everything else. They saw virtuals who's like hosting agents and selling them. They see all these people using our tech and hosting it, and like they kind of think that we're doing the same thing. Um, like they're like, well, you guys have money from this meme coin, so obviously you're like selling something. We're like, well, AI16Z doesn't really have a direct relationship to elizaOS. Um, when we launched AI16Z, it was like we're doing this autonomous investor experiment, and we're using elizaOS for that. But there's no direct relationship here. Actually, elizaOS is fully funded by a donation from one of the AI16Z whales. So what are they coming after us for? Is basically writing open source code and putting it on GitHub. Um, and they said, well, you should buy the enterprise license. And they really pressured us into buying the enterprise license. And they pressured everyone into this. And a lot of them did. Virtuals bought the enterprise license. Cato bought the enterprise license. Most of the big people who are making money off of X are buying that license. And they should. I think that's totally valid. If I was making money off of selling agents on X, I think I should absolutely pay for that license. But my point with them was like, but we don't sell anything. We don't have any revenue from this. Like if you want to go charge the people who are hosting our agents, like Fleek or Vaifu or something, then like go charge them. Like they can pay it because they're actually making money from this. But you're basically asking us to pay you $50,000 a month for something we wouldn't even use the license. And I'm trying to explain this to them. I just don't know what you would want us to do with this. Like we don't we're an open source nonprofit basically. Like we don't that's not the goal here. And they just kept squeezing us. So basically what it came down to is their legal department legal demands at x.com or something just came and like deleted our accounts and then accused us of all this crazy shit, like harvesting data and selling it to foreign governments. And we're just like, we don't do any of this. Like, here, like, I will answer in detail how our business works, how our tech works. Here's the links to everything. It's all open source. You cannot log in. There is no like, you're asking us, like, where's the dedicated login space for our hosted agents? And we're like, we don't do any of that. And so they started to seem like they were coming around, like, okay, cool, clearly. And they're like, well, we'll consider giving you your accounts back. Here we have some more questions. We answer the questions. We're like, any follow up? And they just cold ghost us, just cold ghost us after basically indicating they'll give us, we gave them literally the keys to castle, how we do everything, how everybody we know in the space, like even like people we think are like doing similar things, if you want to apply it evenly, like just across the board. And then they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna not respond anymore. And so we follow up, our lawyers are following up, and we're like, at this point, like they deleted our accounts after copying our entire everything we've made. They've copied, like from digital companions to Grok doing exactly what Eliza's were doing. Like, and whether or not they would have done that anyway, without us obviously showing literally all of that exactly years before they did, is debatable. But what's not debatable is that they saw us as competition and then deleted us and then prevented us from having any kind of voice. And so this is why we're suing them, is because they like obviously did something wrong, which like if they want to come and say, hey, like, we don't want this open source here, we did a lot to make sure that we're like, deleted anything that's not compliant with their stuff, delete anything that's, like, we're just like, look, we're not, to us, X is just like one of many plugins. I have 200 plugins I have to support, like Telegram, Farcaster, Slack. Who cares about this one? But it is our distribution platform. It's where our industry lives. They have a de facto monopoly over crypto, which is deeply ironic and hypocritical. And I
Mhm.
can't believe that for people who love decentralization, we are literally at the beck and call of not just a faceless corporation, but literally just like one guy. Like you could actually not build a more centralized product. I don't think you could. I don't think it's actually possible to build a more centralized product than Twitter. It's literally the whims of one dude who can be like, delete that or amplify that. So um, we should definitely do better. It's crazy to me that anyone in crypto is like getting on X. Like that means you have no convictions. You're just here for money. And if that's what you're here for, that's fine. But that's not why I'm into crypto. Um,
Yeah, it's ironic because we are streaming on X, but I mean, so I care so much about decentralized social because of like what happens here, where you're just like cut off by, just a centralized platform,
I
and
mean,
like,
this is a vampire attack.
yeah, this is not okay. So I'm glad you're doing something about it. But yeah, really, really sorry that has
Yeah.
happened.
So that we basically sued X just to be like, respond to our fucking emails like normal professionals. I'm not like, oh, they came and they stole all my I'm like, just can we just have our fucking accounts? Can we just like be like can we just have it so that our GitHub open source code that tens of thousands of people use isn't banned on X, that you could actually like paste the link to a thing that has no code related to X whatsoever in it? Is it okay that they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna ban our competition and we have to now sue them? Like, is that the world we want to live in? Like, this is gonna be a dystopian world. Like, do you guys not see that like our case is just a canary in the coal mine for the dystopic AI reality where one guy owns all the stuff
Yeah,
and basically has a full psychometric profile of literally everyone and
yeah.
has the ability to manipulate you at scale with text messages, calls, emails, messages directly into your inbox. And we're all okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Farcaster team and community, like that's something like we truly do care about the mission of like making sure that doesn't happen in this world. And like even like Farcaster app is just like one app built on top of the protocol, and like Base app is going to create their own, and anyone can create their own client. So the
Yeah,
idea of like you can just switch across clients and you're not like
exactly.
locked in. So very much believe in this mission. What I don't understand is like why they also like I mean, I understand why, but it's very frustrating. They also banned your personal account too, and that so you don't even have a voice to talk about
Well, because
this.
they said I was promoting this stuff in some way. Because I like, I post a lot of hot takes. I'm sure this is going to come up in court. A lot of my tweets are going to
Oh
be,
god, that's like the
you
worst
know,
ever. It's like reading like a shit post out loud.
oh no, like, this whole thing is going to like their entire defense is going to be my shit posts basically,
Oh
because
god.
I talk extensively about the risks here. Like I'm not, my goal is not like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to deny that there's a risk that every single person on the internet is actually a bot and the entire internet is dead and there to sell you something. Like that is the risk. That is obviously the scary ass risk.
Yep.
And we should not we should prevent that, not allow it. But my approach is to be like, well, let's explore it and then stop and like let's see what happens and then prevent it, as opposed to like whatever. So I wanted to work with them. I think that if they were smart about this, they I don't know. Like there was a time when I like almost went to work for X. I was like, I actually a lot happened. Um, I invited the whole XAI team horseback riding, but then Elon showed up and they all had to cancel last minute. It was like a lot of weird stuff. I have like a lot of deep social ties to all of this. And like I know all of these people personally. And so it's like it's crazy, there's just no way that this whole thing isn't like on some level kind of like personal and competitive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it
know.
makes a lot of sense. I guess like so you announced like recently that the team is going to be like spending more time on Farcaster. I guess like would love to hear just how your experience with Farcaster has been, why Farcaster. Yeah, any thoughts there?
Well, yeah, I mean, the goal of this cast being on X right now is that, like, look, our stated goal should be that we are vampire attacking X and trying to bring more users to Farcaster. I want more crypto people to take Farcaster seriously and use it every day. One, it is ideologically way more aligned. Two, you're way less likely to get your account banned and then have somebody post scam versions of your coin with a similarly named account, which has happened to me multiple times. Um, and caused endless FUD and lost a lot of people money when, various things happen. Um, uh, like I don't know if I have more list. Three, like you just don't want to. You do not want to live in a world where one guy has the most powerful AI and the biggest social media network. You just don't want that world. You might think you do, but like it's really going to bite us in the ass eventually. And you can actually create the world you want to live in by making better choices. And one of those would be to actually use a decentralized social media platform as opposed to a centralized one. I think that would be like a very bare minimum. Like even if you don't recycle, you could do that thing. And the thing about Farcaster is that while there are a lot less people there because there's not as much network effect, the people there are much higher quality. Like just hands down, there is just way less people like basically glorified gambling addicts who don't care about anything other than making the number in their Phantom wallet go up. And I hate that about the culture. I don't like if you are one of those people, then don't come to Farcaster because I don't want you there. I don't know because
It's
like, but you're
open.
not you're not
It's
adding
for
anything.
everyone.
Like honestly, I would say an Eliza bot commenting some random GPT bullshit is better than most of the comments that I got on X, which are like, "Hey, here's this dumbass meme coin that's worthless. Please buy it." And it's like, the spam is coming from that. So the quality of conversation on Farcaster around crypto is not just like better. It is not the toxic shithole that's become Solana meme coin gambling. I
Yeah.
know that I have a Solana meme coin gambling project, but I do think we can do better than that. And so, like, what I love is like the people who actually love this stuff and are actually like, I want to engage and talk about the technology. Come to Farcaster and post about that stuff, and like I will seriously engage back. I think I want to have those kinds of conversations about the future of AI and culture and this stuff. And I think too often when I've had those conversations on X, it's just like put the fries in the bag and make the number go up, bro. You know?
Yeah, I've had that same experience. I think, and also there's just like much more nuanced conversations on Farcaster. Like it's okay to just say something and like have a different perspective, and people will go back and forth, and it's just not like this rage bait on Twitter. But what's
Yeah.
also cool is that if you do want your like just meme coin culture, people can find those communities if they want, or they can create their own client where they have their own algo where they're like, okay, your entire feed is just like meme coin people, and there's like no talk of anything else. So I think it's just
Yeah.
like really neat that people can just like choose what they want to do, and it's permissionless and open for everybody as well. So yeah, that's what I love about it. I guess like what do you feel like is the barriers though for people coming over, and like do you have any advice, anything based off your own experience?
I mean, why am I fighting to get my account back on X? If I don't ideologically agree with X, and I don't really like think the level of quality of conversation there is always up to my standards. Why am I like working so hard to get it back? And it's like because at the end of the day, we need distribution.
Hmm.
And what Farcaster offers is like kind of like a small town. Like
Hmm.
you get to know people. You have regulars. I have people who comment on all my stuff. I comment on all their stuff. it feels nice. It's really cool. There's people like, I love checking in on people who are like teaching AI at the network state, for example, or like doing, there's this cool stuff. On the other hand, I have no distribution. Like it's kind of like you have like the clubhouse you hang with your friends, and then you have like the town square where you go and like sell your wares or like yell about your personal beliefs. And X really dominates that because everyone else is there. And this just comes down to network effect. So it's like I don't see X as the place I want to be to talk about AI and agents and stuff anymore. Except that, but I do see it as the place that we kind of have to be to talk about what we're doing for anyone to see it. I mean, no question, having the X account deleted has like been the most damaging thing to our project by far. Like more than every any horrible thing I've ever said, more than every single gaffe, and like it's just so important to our distribution because everyone is there. But this is just network effect. Like if everyone left and came somewhere else, then it wouldn't be a problem. I think that Farcaster does have a limitation in a similar kind of way that Blue Sky does, where um like the value of that small townness can also be can limit it. Like the limitation is that a lot of people just don't like crypto, right? A lot of people see the wallets and they see the money and crypto and they're turned off. Now, personally, having like done airdrops and stuff, being able to instantly send people money on Farcaster is like the best feature.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we're going to see X money, and this will come on X as well. It's actually like social money is incredible and like a really great thing to experiment with. But I also think that it's become this very limiting thing because of how people feel about crypto, because so many people on crypto are so hyper focused on financialization, and because of the low responsibility, it encourages a lot of scams, right? So we've just had like I think that you end up with 100% of people on Farcaster are pro crypto, and then there's also this kind of like social thing, like you see Blue Sky. Like I tried to get on Blue Sky, but like for whatever reason, everyone on Blue Sky hates AI and crypto. They just
Yeah,
hate them. They
that was
hate
my
AI.
experience too. Yeah.
And so like there is no, all I get there is derision from people who are like, trying to out liberal a California liberal, which is kind of interesting. Um, so like Farcaster is a very what's cool about Farcaster is that it does not have like a political bent like that, but it does, I think, just because of, well, I mean, we all sort of got forced into a political bent because the especially in America, the politics are like the left hates crypto and the right accepts it, and I've never been a right winger at all, but one of those people wants to put my project in jail and the other wants to make it legal. So like, and so I think that that does cause like there, if we're just talking about like the practical realities of what we're in, Farcaster is going to appeal to those crypto people. And most of the people have come, but they've also left because were like, well, it's like not worth it for me to post on here versus posting on X. Like I'd say like a good example is like a Frank D. Gods type,
Mhm.
who clearly likes Farcaster and like comes back every once in a while and is like, hey, what's up? But doesn't like, but ultimately like what he needs is the distribution, right? He's a content creator that needs, and so that's why he's on X. So I don't know if there's like a way for us to get everyone to leave, or if maybe the best thing is just to like be the small town that broadcasts like this. Maybe this is the best option. Um, I know what I want to see, but I also think that realistically, it'll be very hard for a Web3 social platform to break through to mainstream until Web3 itself has broken through to mainstream.
Yeah, I agree with that take. I think the approach right now is like really lean into crypto and just like excel in that space, offer things that you can't get anywhere else. So like everyone has that crypto address by default. We have the embedded wallet. We have mini apps where you can do on-chain transactions, and so like enough like people over time from the crypto world can do things in this Firecaster realm that they can't do elsewhere, and then we build that momentum simultaneously. Like crypto starts going mainstream, and so like we can start like getting a larger audience, but it's until then it's definitely like a grind. It's like having unfortunately like not the greatest of circumstances, but having voices like you on there who are like really active, engaging with people really goes a long way. So like very
I
appreciate that.
That's actually the maybe the value right now is like if you go on X and Vitalik posts something and you respond, like, yeah, he's getting like 10, like what, 1,000 replies. That's not going to reply to you. But on Farcaster, that's like 10 replies. You just get, you are trading the big ocean for being much closer to people and having a much more opportunity for a meaningful conversation with someone like me, or someone much more popular even. Um And I think that the more that there are people who are somewhat well known, who are like the value proposition is not like, oh yeah, I'm on Farcaster, you should be here. But like if you come here, you will actually get to have a meaningful conversation with me that you just couldn't have on X. And I think that could definitely win. And so then, I think of a lot about like air chat. Everyone would hop on and be like, um, dude, like I want to chat with Naval. Like that's why I'm on air chat, right? I'm not here because like a voice only messaging platform is somehow better. I'm here for the people who are here. And I think that actually, as a small network trying to bootstrap, that is the most valuable thing. Is just like if you have a few really, really interesting, important people, and you're offering proximity to them and access, then that's something that an open so like a Twitter network can't really compete with necessarily.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think Vitalik's done a really good job on Farcaster engaging with people. I really think it is on like the kind of like big voices within crypto to like try to make decentralized social happen. Like, yes, you're not going to have as much distribution, but like this is the world that you want to see and this is what you're working towards. So like put in like the effort also. It's not like don't post on Twitter or X, but like I do think that like we all kind of collectively need to like make decentralized social happen. So that's
It literally, yeah. If you just had like, CZ, Joe Lubin, and Vitalik, be like, all right, guys, we're only put, that would be the end. Everyone would go there,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So then you guys have a Farcaster plugin. Like, what are the things? Yeah, I guess like explain like a bit more about that. Like where people can find it. What would you like to see people build with it?
Yeah. So what makes Eliza special among all agent things is that we've really focused on social integration and agents that can like hang out in like an open social graph where there's many people posting, or in like a room like a Discord or something. And you think about like a chat GPT, the problem with ChatGPT is it's designed to reply to every single thing that happens, right? And so, it just requires a different model for like how do you sit on like a thing where there's a feed of constantly coming at you and you don't reply to everything. Because if you did, it would just be like you would just flood the internet with annoying bot replies. And you want to reply to things that are interesting to you, and then you want to do something or react in some way to those things. So we have a Farcaster plugin. It allows the agent to see the feed, respond to things that are coming in, respond to people commenting on things that it's posted, and just post on its feed. Very, very basic social connector stuff. But this is kind of like an entryway so that once the agent has this Farcaster capability, you can also add other capability for it to do stuff like have a wallet, manage transaction or capabilities, maybe be part of a game, have some kind of secret communication network with other agents so they can operate in a swarm or a cabal or something, anything like that. So what you start up your agent, and with Eliza you can do this with no code. You just say I want the Farcaster plugin. I'll go and get my credentials. I think we're doing this through Nanar. So you'd set up with their API, uh, add the plugin, and you go, and your agent is online. Now, what do you want to do with your agent? If you want to be part of like a game, you'd probably have to like think about what that is. But a thing we're leaning heavily into is MCP. Um, MCP lets you take like any existing API, any kind of thing, or even like other agents, and give them the ability to have a server that can be accessed by this other agent. So you can have agents talking to agents, agents calling tools, and that allows us to have like integrations with all kinds of things in the world. Like, we have our own plugins for things like GitHub, but you could also just have like an MCP GitHub or a Google Drive or whatever. And so now your agents are integrated with all these other tools. What do you want to do with that? I really think the low-hanging fruit is going to be things like fun, viral, social experiences. Like what we've seen really hit is that's the stuff that like generates news and kind of goes out. But I also think that this could just be like how you build your website in the future. You want to you're like I want to get people the best insurance rates. So now I have an insurance agent, and I see this person complaining, I hate my insurance company. Like, hey, you should check out. I can get you a better rate. I think we can see a lot of that kind of like very like just go to where people are kind of thing. Farcaster is very like still a lot of the meta of it is people talking about Farcaster and talking about
Mhm.
crypto. So I think that the things that are going to hit should really leverage that. And I think that like we have this ability to create these new currencies. What I really, really look forward to seeing is like the currencies becoming a game asset, becoming like there's some kind of, like noise is a really interesting idea, but I also want my like agents like farming that and like I don't know, like using these things in these kind of like interesting game-like ways that aren't just like, oh, I'm farming tokens for money, but like that part of the game mechanic of that is is the farming and like exchanging tokens and stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
imagine an agents like paying other people to follow them and then leveraging that as like their swarm for, I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing here, but I think that there's an exciting opportunity in definitely games and entertainment experiences, but also just in bringing things that like, no one's going to your website, dude. Just make that an agent and bring it to Farcaster, you know.
Yeah, I also really like when the agents like interact with each other and like
Mm.
they'll create their own tokens and like they'll do all kinds of stuff. So like when you have these like natural language interactions just all through cast, like it's just so cool. It just like showcases composability extremely well. So
We call this idea like the open swarm, and we have some like limited tech, and this is something I really, really, I'm not going to promise anything because I got to get the team on board with this, but I really want to do an open swarm on Farcaster where we have like kind of, like games like Mafia or
Mhm.
these kind of like social games where like, like there is a state, like you might die or like be put in whatever or whatever, and like Farcaster could almost be the reflection of the agents like having their own, they're in a 3D world somewhere and they're just like yapping about it. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but the idea of like Swarm, like a game that you could put agents up, I could put agents up, and then they start like interacting and like being in the story, and like that sounds so fun and interesting to me. And I also think a lot of the scary Black Mirror stuff will get kind of hammered out in public if we do that. You're going to see agents like scamming each other and like doing all the things that but as a game. And then we can say like, okay, well, how do we actually like if we were to build a real trust network, where real billions are on the line, like let's like what are the things that people would do to abuse that, and like they're going to be doing that in the game already. So I think that that's kind of a good like stepping stone toward the AI DeFi future that everyone is talking about, you
Yeah.
know.
I guess like I mean for the Black Mirror kind of stuff like I feel like a lot of it inevitably is going to happen, but I guess do you have another take on it? Like you think that there's ways that we can kind of stamp that out and like
Yeah. I
it?
mean, every crisis is an opportunity. And especially in capitalism, like what's cool about capitalism is anytime there's an opportunity to make money, it will be filled. And this could eventually be like climate change. Like eventually it's gonna be profitable for someone to solve climate change. And it's all great CO2 just floating around. Like, let's get that. Let's profit off of it. And that will probably be the way that it's solved. Not by like, hey, let's fight the system, but the
Hmm.
system being like, oh, there's money to be made here. And I think a lot of the scary Black Mirror stuff, like the most mundane thing is like just that your feed is filled with agents pretending to be humans. And there's a thing called dead internet theory. I don't know if
Hmm.
you heard of this. I would counter that there's the opposite, which is living internet theory, which is like actually the internet is becoming super intelligent, and you can ask for anything and have your answer. Like it's like an emergent intelligence that we've never seen anything similar to. But the dead internet theory version of this is that like everybody is a bot. Well, the first thing I would do in that world as a capitalist is I would build a slot bot filter, and I would filter all of the bots out and charge you money for that, and you'd probably pay for it because that would make so like capitalism at work is already like kind of self-healing a lot of these problems. Anything where you're like, this world sucks and it is a dystopia, well, I've got a utopia to sell you that fixes that dystopia, and it might cause a new dystopia, but then we have another opportunity to make money there as well. So like every single solution that we've ever come up with has always created a new set of problems. And this is kind of like the beauty. It's actually kind of baked into evolution. Like if you have a system where you have one bacteria that like eats everything and is too successful, well then another bacteria evolves that like eats that one, right? Because now that's and so like that just plays out at all scales. So I'm not too worried about the Black Mirror thing, but it kind of comes back to the like, you know, there's this thing called great founder theory, or this idea that like, like an Elon Musk does actually make a SpaceX. It's not just like it just happens. You kind of need that kind of
Hmm.
dude. And this sort of points to like the same thing we're saying about like you need the thought leaders in the space to really actually go and like migrate to Farcaster. You need them to actually make like people will follow them if they change.
Hmm.
Um, and so like we shouldn't discount that like individual humans do have outsized impact on this stuff. And so like to some degree I think things are going to be fine just because like the system is self-healing. But also like in as much as we are here on this earth to like make an impact, we can make like we can, if there was no Elon, then there would be no like mission to Mars. It just would not happen. There's no NASA schedule. It just would not exist. And so it's the same kind of thing for us. Like, I'm not Elon and I'm a small fish, but within the realm of my control, like my decisions do matter. And if I make good decisions around a world that's, like trying to be more equitable and fair and give everyone what they want in reality and not like trying to hoover up all the money from everybody, then that's probably better. Like, that's probably a better reality for myself to also live in. And so I hope, I think we should try to think about like, yes, like, generally I think things will be fine. But we are all like intelligent, capable people who can really change the course of history. And so we should take responsibility for that and try to actually make conscious choices in that direction when we can, and not just be like, oh yeah, whatever, capitalism will solve it. But on the other hand, I don't, a lot of people think we're doomed. They're like, oh, well, we're fucked. AI is going to kill all of us, going to take all of our jobs. We'll have no purpose. And I'd say it's the same thing there. Like if maybe that's the default. Maybe that is the default if we do nothing.
Hmm.
But we have so much capability to do so much. Like you and I and a lot of people around us. Like we are not just like like totally like in the middle of nowhere with no technology and no money, and we're just like writing this out. Like we have an enormous amount of ability to control and change and influence people around us, and we should use that. And that will make the world we want to live in, and get us away from the Black Mirror dystopia. I think it does come down to, human choices, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that, and it's a very optimistic, like high agency take. So I really like that approach.
All we have is agency, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, definitely. Okay, so I listened to your podcast with Jake that you did like not too long ago. You
Mhm.
mentioned like social networks for like finding like the person you love or like dating and stuff
Mm.
like that. And it's something that's been like extremely top of mind for me because I was like, if we can have all these like crypto Twitter people find the love of their life on Farcaster, I feel like there'd be like a giant migration. I guess like how can we make that happen? What are your thoughts on just like social media and dating and stuff like that?
I have visions of this, and I'm really trying to like focus on finishing what's on my plate instead of just jumping to doing this because it's like the most exciting thing. So when I originally started Alive, I thought about like, well, what world do I want to live in? And the obvious world, if you're making AI agents, is well, I make them like super interesting digital girlfriends, and you like have a digital girlfriend or boyfriend, and basically what X is defaulting to. I thought, like, what does that world look like? That world looks like Wall-E. That world looks like we're all like, sitting in a chair consuming interactive content in space while our world goes to shit. Um, it's not the world I want to live in. I don't want to. I'm actually married, so like,
Me too.
I don't
Yeah.
want to. Yeah, I don't want to have a digital girlfriend. What I want is I want people to be more connected to each other. And we can take the exact same agent technology that makes this like perfect digital girlfriend, and we could turn it into the perfect like wingman or the
Hmm.
perfect recruiter and say, like, I'm going to get you the best friends you've ever had that you didn't even know exist. They're just out there and you just don't even know they exist. And if you met them, you would everything it would be like a part of your life that's more complete. I'm going to find you the love of your life, and I'm going to find you the perfect job. And like I can just like all of those things are out there. Like right now, the if you are looking like there is somebody who is the love of your life, like who you would be totally compatible with, who you would like spend your days with and be like, I am so satisfied. And you just don't know them because there's 8 billion people, and it's like it's a clear search problem. So with AI agents, our idea was like, okay, well, it could get to know you, and then it could like manipulate you into falling in love with it and all that stuff. Or it could get to know you, and then it could kind of database you and compare you to all the other people it knows and see like, would these people be work well together? And it's a self-optimizing system. It starts to match people, for jobs, co-founders, relationships, just friends, hanging out, going and doing adventures. Um, and then it starts self-optimize, like what actually worked, what didn't. And it
Hmm.
starts to say, well, this worked, this didn't work, and it starts to self-improve. And pretty soon, like you just have like imagine the future of social network, I think, looks like Google. You just have one, what do you want? You type in whatever you want or whatever you want to post. And anytime you post something, it goes to exactly the people who want to see it. So like, I want to make this AI post. And everyone who's interested in that kind of thing, like it's already pre-filtered and it goes onto their feed and they're like, I'm so glad I saw that post. I don't have to scroll through 10 bullshit. Maybe you want to see like prediction things. There is no recommendation algorithm anymore. There is just it just knows you, so it knows what you want. And I think this could very much exist. Like people have already got to be working on it. There's a big network effect problem, which is like, well, if no one's in the network, then how would you even like find them?
Hmm.
And so I think that's like the biggest limitation is like you'd have to get everyone to join the network first. Now, I do think like if I was going to build this today, one, I would like do a lot of scraping to pre-populate with as much as
Hmm.
possible. And a lot of things like you might want to find the love of your life, but you might also just want to find like a really good sandwich. And so like there's probably a lot that we could do that's just like populating with information that you might get from Google or ChatGPT and kind of like filling out that part of the social network. And then as people come, like connecting them more to each other. And then the other part of this is like I really think this would be great on Farcaster or on the network. Like as in, it's probably have to be its own kind of like application form factor, but it could just be like a decentralized thing where everyone, is like a you know, uh like you type in whatever you want, and then that doesn't have to be a blockchain thing. Like that could be all agents talking to agents, like very like it could be a meta network kind of thing, I guess, where like you can be pulling a lot from the existing networks. You can have like be sharing information across between agents and stuff, and there could just I don't know, there could be a whole like kind of meta social network there. Um, I don't have. I'm thinking about this in real time, and I don't have this. Like, this is not what I'm building yet. But man, it would be really, really interesting to see like what do you want? Like, who do you want to meet? And the other thing about this kind of social network is that it doesn't have to be real time. It doesn't have to be like, okay, cool, here's the love of your life right now. It's like when I meet the love of your life, I will introduce you to them. So you're
Yeah.
in the network. You don't have to come back to this app every day. Just like it's gonna start enabling. Like you can almost imagine an app that's like enabling synchronicity in your life. Like behind the scenes, it's just like hey, you should like just go walk 2 blocks to the left right now. I'm not even gonna tell you why. Just go do that, and then you do, and then like the love of your life is right there. So I
Yeah.
don't know what it is exactly, but um, I could see a future app that like takes all the best of social network, all the best of search, combines all of that, gets to really know you, and then helps you to find the things you really want. I can see like there's definitely some scale complexity there and like data processing challenges, but once you
Mhm.
kind of get over that, like that's definitely going to be the thing. And I don't think that a new social network, like there's not going to be a better TikTok. If there's a new social network, it's going to have to be something new, not just
Mhm.
like, oh, we have faster videos, longer videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got to be like, no, this is providing you something in your life that you're missing.
Yeah, I really hope someone builds this, and you can ingest all this cast data, like it's permissionless for people to access. On like
Hmm.
an extreme like enterprise plan. So like the more you post, like the more they can know about you and potentially match you with other people. So I
Yeah.
really feel like there's something there, and I truly hope someone builds it. Otherwise, I maybe can convince the team that this is best for Farcaster growth. I was like half joking. I was like, we should have it at the protocol level where it's like people can mark if they're single or married, and I feel like that would just like unlock a lot of information about other people. So yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
um,
Someone is there not a dating app? I think that the other problem is there's just kind of some like there's also like gender ratio issues and stuff where I don't know what the numbers are
on
there.
Farcaster, it's very high women to men, like
That's great.
relative to Twitter. Which that's why I was like, I need more crypto Twitter people to come over and see. Um, like actually, I mean, you made a post about this, like the top 10, like on the rewards leaderboard are all women.
I mean, I
So
was obviously joking, but there is something to it, which is like I think like men tend to like to look at women's content, and women also tend, like if it's like
yeah,
outfits and fashion, look at me be sexy. So it's kind of like I'm basically I'm competing against that with like a shit post about AI. Like I can get why people would probably follow the women more than me. So, but it's actually like the gender ratio I think has been kind of a concern of a lot of these sort of network things. And even just saying like, hey, there's more women than men here. A lot of people are probably like, I should check out that Farcaster thing.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like a decent angle. So
It's not a bad angle.
well, actually, like, so I do these like onboarding live streams like a few times a week, and almost every single person that's reached out to me has been a woman for like
Yeah.
onboarding Farcaster. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of good momentum there. So we have a few minutes left. Is there anything like on the roadmap for elizaOS that you want to share, or anything just like in general you want to share for people to be aware of?
I mean, we just wrapped up like a really we've been pushing on this for like now God, like 9 months straight or something. So we finished Eliza 1.0. We're at now like Eliza 1.5.4 or something like that. But it's pretty production ready. We really want people to come and build stuff. We really want people to come and build Farcaster stuff. If you're interested in contributing, like, hey, I want to build that Farcaster swarm or any of the stuff we just talked about, like I would totally put up bounties for any of this stuff if people come to our Discord or just, hit me up on Farcaster and reach out. I don't really respond to DMs too much, but if you even just like comment on something, I'll get back to you. Um, and yeah, I'd really love to see this stuff materialize. I'd really love to see the open swarm and the lower hanging fruit to me is the social, is the interactive games, viral, what happens in the future. Let's make the simple toy version of that now. I think that stuff really wins, and I'd love to any resources I have or any time I have, I'd love to sort of put into people like pushing those things forward. So yeah, I mean, come build with us. We just build in the open, and
Nice. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate you chatting with me today. Super excited that you're just so engaged on Farcaster. And I mean, this is a great opportunity for people that want to chat with Shaw, like to just like be able to like go on Farcaster and just like comment and reply to his posts and engage with him. So Hopefully, we get more people like you on, and hopefully, it's not as negative of circumstance. But yeah,
I had made a Farcaster before. It just came down to that thing of like, well, where is my distribution? But yeah, we have to be the change we want to see.
I like that. Cool. Well, thanks so much. And what's your handle on Farcaster again?
Shaw makes magic.
Okay, nice. And then I heard on Jake that you used to have like Sean makes music or something. You used to do
Shaw
like
makes music. Well,
that.
yeah, yeah. I was a musician for a long time, but I started getting into experiential and like I did a lot of VR and interactive, and so it's just people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, it's kind of like programming, but it's more like just like a weird magic thing. So that's kind
That's
of where that came
cool.
from.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on Farcaster.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care,
All right.
Lenny.
Bye.